Man, the direct is almost here. I wonder if there'll be anything interesting. Probably just Animal Crossing, Dragon Quest and Mario Maker. Fighting games have been around since the 80s with titles like Karate Champ and Yi Are Kung Fu, but were booming during the 90s with Capcom's classic title Street Fighter II: The World Warrior. Street Fighter II was a 1 vs 1 fighting game where the goal was to knock out the opponent's health bar down by punching, throwing, kicking and using special moves. It was a massive success for Capcom that then made multiple versions of the same game, several merchandises, and even had a film adaptation starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, Kylie Minogue, and the late memorable Val Julia as M. Bison. Truly a guilty pleasure of mine.
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
There were many titles that followed the trend of Street Fighter II, including Fatal Fury, Mortal Kombat, and even licensed properties like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. Yu Suzuki, creator of Shenmue and Outrun, took a big leap with the fighting game genre by transitioning into the third dimension with Virtua Fighter. But no other fighting game compared to the popularity of Masahiro Sakurai's and Satoru Iwata's crossover giant Super Smash Bros. Masahiro Sakurai and Satoru Iwata were former developers at HAL Laboratory and the creator of the Kirby series, who wanted to create a fighting game where anyone can play with ease, from casual to the hardcore, as while games like Street Fighter were popular during the time, they weren't easy to get into, as trying to perform combos and special moves were difficult for some. Sakurai said in a column in 2010 for Famitsu, "I had created Super Smash Bros. To be my response to how hardcore exclusive the fighting game genre had become over the years. If we want new people from this generation of gamers to come in, then we need it accessible, simple, and playable by anyone." In order to do this, he and Iwata decided to simplify the controls. There were only 2 attack buttons, the A button for standard attacks, and the B button for special moves, and depending on the direction of the analog stick, a new attack came out. This made learning characters a lot easier, as everyone uses the same commands to unleash their attacks, instead of doing quarter circles, 4 circles, zigzags, charges, 360 circles, diagonal imprints, Pizza Hut, Timmy Sanders, Cinderella, Toy Story, Health bars were thrown out the window in favour of knocking out opponents off stage, similar to Sumo wrestling, but with a gallery of items like bombs, supercells, and radons. The more damage you do to your opponent, the easier it is to knock them out. This is a unique concept, as even if you have less damage than your opponent, you can still use if you're not careful. And with the addition of items being involved, even the most casual player could be a pro. Super Smash Bros. Is a game where it can be all casual, or competitive, and even the blend of the two. It can be whatever you want it to be. I know a few people who've never touched or cared for playing any other fighting game, but enjoy Smash Bros. Due to its easy to pick up and play design. I did play games like Street Fighter II before Smash, but I only just spammed heavy down kick with Guile, but thanks to Smash I got into playing more of the genre and has become one of my favourites. The philosophy of simplifying and customization can be seen in many of Sakurai's works, like the Kirby franchise, as Kirby has so many playstyles to choose from similar to Smash, and that Kirby was designed to be played by all kinds of players, no matter the skill. The sort of customization wasn't huge in the first game, with the only selection of 12 fighters 9 stages, and choosing any items you want in a maps. But with every new installment, the customization became larger than the previous. By the time of writing this script, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate allows you to choose around 75 fighters, 103 stages, each with their own battlefield and final destination variation, as well as the option to turn off stage hazards, 800 pieces of music ranging from original tracks and remixes, loads of assist trophies and summable Pokemon, and tons of modes to choose from, including World of Light, which, while a flawed mode, is basically another game within a game.
We must be crazy.
With many games nowadays with the bare minimum and waiting for more content to be considered a complete game, Sakurai and his team has given us the complete package that is still treating us with new stuff. My first experience with the series was back around the time the first installment was out, and I got it on my birthday. Before playing the first game, I only knew who Captain Falcon, the Mario, and Pokemon characters were, and I had no idea who anyone else was. I thought Samus was a robot from an old game I had on a Super Nintendo towards Cybernator, and Ness was a character from Harvest Moon. I was a stupid kid. After playing many hours with the game, I wanted to know more about these characters and their games. This was the same with me and Brawl. After playing me, I got myself a copy of Ice Climber on the NES Classics for the Game Boy Advance, and a few years later, I asked my parents to buy Fire Emblem for me, which has become one of my favourite series of all time. The same with Kid Icarus, as when the Brawl trailer was shown, I had no idea who Pit was, but I love Angels and wanted to know more about Kid Icarus, so I decided to download the original Kid Icarus on the Wii Virtual Console, which I fell in love instantly. Without Smash Bros., I would have no idea what Fire Emblem, Kid Icarus, Earthbound, or Metroid were, and I am thankful that I got to experience many of these titles thanks to Smash. I'm not the only one, as many people seem to be introduced to many different games thanks to Smash, and with the recent announcement that the Dragon Quest Heroes was revealed this E3, many people seem to be keen to try out those titles, or argue that their favourite character did not appear. This really amazes me, as people seem to be hyped for DLC of all things. Paid DLC. This is the practice back in the day where a lot of people were normally hesitant towards. Yet whenever a new Nintendo Direct gets announced, many folks get excited for a new character announcement, speculate who the next fighter will be, and some will make videos on these speculations. Most of the time can be quite clickbaity. These fighter reveals will get more attention than the actual game reveals, as besides the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Keanu Reeves, Banjo-Kazooie and the Dragon Quest Heroes were the talk of this year's E3. Speaking of Dragon Quest and Banjo-Kazooie, Ultimate has loads of fighters from the Icons, to the Obscure, to Cloud Strife. The roster of this game is mind-blowing. This is a game where you can have Mario fight Solid Snake, Sonic the Hedgehog, Bayonetta, the Duck Hunt God, Cloud, Mega Man, and Simon Belmont fighting in Mementos from Persona 5 with Rivers in the Desert playing in the background. This seems like a mutant fighting game, yet it's official. Sorting out copyright information for this game must have been an absolute nightmare. As of April 2019, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the best-selling fighting game of all time, with 13.81 million copies sold worldwide. If you're not including the many versions of Street Fighter 2, and me has one of the strongest fighting game communities, and is one of the youngest games to be played competitively alongside Marvel vs. Capcom 2. What started out as a small passion project by Iwata and Sakurai turned into the impossible dream of bringing many iconic characters together, introducing people to different series, being one of the most popular competitive games, and bringing both casuals and pros together. I don't know what the future of Super Smash Bros. Would be, but I would say thank you Sakurai, Iwata, and the many people who have helped develop these wonderful titles for us to enjoy.